anyone else care to. So I think it's really critical to make sure that, you know, wherever 2 or more are gathered, we're talking about the census, and don't forget to fill it out. You know, do you need help? We can help with that. If you have questions, we can help you with that. That no one should ever feel like they can't do the census because they have a language barrier or a comprehension barrier. We have all sorts of tools where we can help that because it is so important. And not just for the city of St. Paul. Clearly we're being sort of parochial here, but it's for all communities that they get counted. So, thank you.
Thank you all for your perspectives and kicking off this conversation. I will now go out to the audience and ask if you have any questions that you'd like to pose or further clarification from our panelists.
I got a question. I apologize. I talk loud anyway. But you know, looking back at the 2000 census, you guys just mentioned one of the questions I asked is, you can tell there was no funding allocated to the urban communities, as you can see. But one of the things I was more interested in, the reason why I joined the census, because in 2000 I didn't even know there was a census. So I've been doing census for a while. And my question is, how do we get people within the urban community to partake in, especially college students, get them out to get the voice that if you do not fill out the census, not only will you lose seats, but you will lose the voice. And so that's what I've been trying to get across to people, but we need some strategic plans so we can make sure that everybody participates in the census. So that's one of the things I'm interested in, the advocacy that needs to take place so we can have students participate. Students are participating at this campus, but at other institutions, because we all in it together. But I live in the Lake Bluff community, and I know for a fact that this is a community, and this university is a community that would definitely benefit. I can't be all over the place, but we need to have a connection of grassroots organizing so we can make sure that everybody participates in the census. Because it's not only, it's a lot of stuff at stake. So I want to know from you guys, what can we do as a community and as this university to make sure that everybody knows about the census? Most people probably watch it.
Well, I mean, I think it's probably a combination of about 100 different things, but clearly having gatherings like this, I think the mayor talked about, you know, getting the word out. You know, students are going to watch this video, and then they'll go home and tell their parents, and then those parents will then tell their family, and they will tell their friends. I mean, I think the more you talk about it, the more people should be aware that they should be looking for it in their mailbox. You know, I thought it came a few weeks ago because, you know, it said official document. But I think having forums like this, certainly there's a huge public service coordinated effort coming from the federal government about this. You know, maybe it's one of those things, you know, what is it, you know, 10% never get the word. I think the job of community is to make sure that those people who don't traditionally listen to the radio or TV hear about it through us. I mean, Karen Paul is here from the District 4 Community Council. I mean, the most grassroots level organization in a neighborhood. I'm sure it's in the Dayton's Bluff District Forum coming up. Yes, I'm sure it is. If not, we'll have to get you an ad. You know, something where you're at sort of the most grassroots level of how to connect with people, and that's how you do it, are things like this.
Yeah, I would also say, you know, and it's sort of something we're used to. I mean, every year during an election year, we all get out in all the networks and remind all the people around us, and you know, tell folks, you know, why it's so important to vote. You know, not for them, but it's important to you because this is how this election or this is how this decision, you know, impacts your life on a practical, everyday basis. I think it's really about, you know, and I would certainly echo the comments about, you know, these types of events. I also think, I also appreciate Council President Landry, the way she talked about this being like directly connected to the need in our communities. You know, a lot of those folks, and certainly there's a demonstrated undercount tendency for college students, for low-income folks, for people who are likely to be moving, more transient, the stronger that tendency is to be undercounted. Among a lot of those same people, there's a real passion for people. There's passion for social justice, certainly in this community, certainly in this university community. There's passion for social justice. There's passion for health and human services. There's passion for educational achievement and closing the gap. And if we can make sure that we're getting out to folks, not the be counted so they know how many people are in the country message, but the message like be counted because it's critically important for the things that you care about. And we can get that not just like at a microphone at formal events, but if everybody leaves here and whoever we have lunch with next week, we just have a conversation in the midst, we interject 3 or 4 minutes in that conversation about why it's so important to be counted in the census. If we all, wherever we go, if we go worship this Sunday, have that conversation with the folks we see. If we go home and have that conversation, if we go to work and have that conversation, if we all are sort of just committed even to just having the conversation with the folks we're going to sit next to and see on a day-to-day basis anyway, then I think we're really far along.
Yeah, and I have to tell you, my address is a census address, which I didn't know until I moved into the house. And now every 2 years, every other year, I now have, because I've lived in my house like 23 years, so I now have the survey sort of memorized. By the way, it takes an hour. They used to come to the house and somebody would bring a laptop and they'd record all my answers. It's sort of interesting because I take that so seriously. They send me a form ahead of time and I have to split out how much I spend on electricity and gas. Well, here in St. Paul, our Excel bill comes all at once, so I have to call Excel and have them split out my gas and electric for certain months, and then add them up and how much I spend on trash. My property taxes, I have to use a certain line on my property tax form, so I fill out this sheet ahead of time. I take it all really seriously. So there are certain addresses where they get really a ton more information, but then every 10 years we do this other thing. So it's.
So this isn't the hard one. This isn't the hour.
But you know what? But for me, it's one of those things that I know that, and you know how long it takes me to gather all that information? About 10 minutes to call up Excel and say, here's the months, split them out for me. It doesn't really take any amount of time. But again, because I know how important the information that they gather from me is, I do it. And when I think about the difference between the survey that I take as an address versus this one, it's going to feel like a breeze. But but because I know it's critical.
If I could interject, each major city, a lot of cities around, a lot of the cities around the state are having like community census organizations where they're working on city planning and things like that. I know at all of the state university cities that there are larger communities that are working in collaboration with each of the campuses to try to work, not just college students, how do we get them counted, but also how do we get people counted in the community. And I know that Minneapolis and St. Paul have these organizations that are working together to kind of coordinate these efforts. And so anyone that wants to kind of help out and pitch in there, I think that'd be great. From the college student perspective, I kind of alluded to this when I first talked that there'll be a big push on all of our campuses from March 22nd to March 27th to do some visible activities that will kind of be around. There'll be some tabling, students talking to other students, and also encouraging a student that's watching, has a couple free hours, go visit your student senate office.